I know that Columbia International School has a mission to be the best international school in Japan for ESL students. And I wanted to ask you if there are any ways that Tinkering Labs can help you achieve that. We just talked about communication. So does the kit provide opportunities for communication or greater language use that's appropriate for a school in that mission?
We're definitely communicating about what they built.
Yeah.
Knowing what the parts are, like a circuit. You're creating that's a circuit, you know. And that really. Otherwise, if you didn't have that, if you didn't have the hands-on, a circuit, then you have to memorize it. It's in the book.
It's abstract.
And it could be boring for them, and it's not going to sink in as much.
You know, it's our first year using it, so we're going to come up with ways for them to maybe present.
Yeah, you come back in 10 years
with their design, and, right? So that'd be more of like a communications base where they have to present in English. And,
right. Present what you made. Yeah. Show us your solution and explain how you
have to research the
thinking process.
Yeah.
I think that the instructions in the book were well written generally, but for some of my lower level language students, some of the wording was, like, you know, even the non-scientific terminology was a little difficult for some of them. So there was also sharing in the classroom about that, where some of my stronger language students were helping the students who didn't understand what they were reading. It also helped to have the pictures there. It's, the pictures were great to help the students along who had the language barrier between reading the instructions and getting to the product that they wanted to make. But even watching students talk to each other and say, like, what does that word mean? Like, which I see in many other classes, but this was just another place where I could see some of my weaker language students getting help from the stronger language students or the teachers or the assistants around.
I know that Columbia International School has a commitment to universal design and making all learning accessible to students of different language abilities. How does this kit help you achieve that mission to build a universally accessible classroom?
Well, specifically, I would say the kit starts very basic, and when students are working with the basic parts and the basic constructions, and even just following instructions to get to the end result that they're being tasked with, that's a level of learning. But the kit also gives students opportunities to experiment and try different approaches or come up with completely new approaches on their own to tackle a problem. And so it scaffolds itself in the way that the student chooses to approach the task.
They're all engaged anyway.
Beautifully said.
Beautifully said, Mr. Tang.
Oh, thanks. Beautifully said. It scaffolds itself.
It scaffolds itself.
Basically.
Because we have so many different levels, differentiated, it helps out a lot.
Were there any particularly memorable student creations or solutions that stuck out to you or surprised you?
When we first got them, there were things flying through the room because they were doing it. I go, wow. Okay, glasses on, everybody. I had
just seen two students come together to build a bigger, faster model of a car, whipping through the hallways. That was good to see. And then the drawing one. I forget what it's called.
They like that?
Build something that can
draw a curvy line.
So specifically the one with the curvy line, there was this one was one where students in the class, I think, had a hard time picturing how to accomplish this.
Right.
And so many of the students or groups of students in my class that tackled that one went straight to the book and did the one that was in the book, which puts a wheel on the like a single wheel on the outside of something with a marker pointing down, and then the wheel drives around
like a compass,
and draws a spiral, right? And when I read the task originally, because I've got a little tinker brain myself, that's completely different from what I was thinking of.
Oh.
And so I didn't want to do too much or get in there. But to just one of my students who is already quite creative, I just said the word tripod, and so and he was very intrigued because he knows what a tripod is, and he was like, okay, but then what do I do? And I was like, well, if you put a propeller on the top, it'll wiggle the whole thing. And he's like, oh. So then he kind of took that idea and ran with it and made, you know, 2 regular legs, and one of the legs was the marker, and had just something spinning at the top, and it was just causing the whole thing to wiggle and making a much more random looking line around the page. So the students were also quite taken by that and impressed by that. And I was like trying not to be like too, I was like, I don't want to, you know, be the idea guy, but here's a little bit of what I was thinking about. So yeah, that one went pretty well.
That's interesting how you could say one keyword and he can pick that up and build something that would be unexpected.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that challenge and many of the others because they have what I would consider like kind of a low ceiling or a low hurdle that you can quite easily clear in 20-30 minutes if you have the basics down. But there's also like a really high ceiling. Like even making curvy lines, how many colors can we do at once? Or can you make a big line or a small line or a perfect circle?
I had some kids group their things together and experiment with that as well. It's great.
Yeah, good. The piece of paper for the curvy line was really large, and so you had like multiple groups with different machines on the same page drawing curly lines all over the place.
Do you have any
memorable one? Well, I don't want to say the student's name, but just this is what I want to do. I want to create cars. This has given me a chance to tinker, and he wants to be an inventor of cars, different cars.
I got a kid.
I can guess who that is. I don't know.
But you know, sometimes at school he doesn't show as much enthusiasm as.
Well, he might be the ideal.
He's a hands-on.
He might be the ideal for inquiry-based learning. Like
for sure.
He hates rote learning.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to be involved in the monotony of memorizing or whatever it is in class. But once a topic, and he's not the only one, but for these kids, once a topic sparks their interest, they'll spend all of their own personal free time thinking about and seeing if they can. It was
amazing for that student. Well, a lot of them actually, not just him, but especially since he doesn't often get to that level.
Another one that was almost cool.
That's almost cool. Almost cool.
No, sorry. I'll explain.
You're almost a nice teacher.
No. Something that I was almost really excited to see was but we ran out of time, so we didn't do it that day. Was the one of the tasks was to launch a wheel, right? Yeah. And so most of the students' creations were to start the motor spinning and then place the wheel in, and the wheel launches after that. But one of the students was like, that's not how like a launcher of anything works. So this student
launchers, rocket launcher. Okay.
This student wanted to make something that you could turn on and then would launch the wheel without having to do the next step of putting the wheel in. So we didn't get to the end of it, and the idea wasn't quite complete, but they had the concept of, well, if I get the motor to pull on each rotation, pull back the rubber band, then eventually the rubber band will run out of, elasticity that it can stretch, and it will snap back. And so they were almost good to go with that idea, but they didn't quite have all the pieces. But seeing that they had that idea was a really good step.
That's really interesting. So I'm hearing that the kid kind of challenges different kids in different ways. It's a spark for motivation. Yeah. But each kid kind of engages with it at their own level.
Yeah. Exactly. That's that self-scaffolding.
Self-scaffolding.
Part of it. Yeah.
What would you say to
it finds its own level. They find their own levels.
Find their own level.
Basically.
What would you say to a teacher who doesn't have any experience using something like this, that's an open-ended kit, that it's a hands-on tool. And they're maybe hesitant to that because they're more comfortable with the curriculum that they've been given or that they've been using for years and years.
It's a toy. Take it, play with it yourself first.
Start small, experiment.
Take it home to show it to your kids, or you know,
Play with it yourself.
Trial and error.
Play with it yourself.
100%
See what
trial
you
and
can
error.
make.
Like this didn't work, do this.
Yeah.
Just whatever you can come up with.
Like
the kids are great
it's
at
a
it.
fun kit.
Just
So
be a
the
kid.
more you do with
Be
it.
a kid. There you go. Be a
Just
kid.
be a kid. Yeah, just be a kid. And then give them the very basics. Don't give them too much, and just let them go.
Stand
Definitely
back.
don't give them too much.
Yeah.
Like even the videos that you have online of other kids doing stuff, I didn't show my kids. I put it on there and I go, I don't want to show them. Because that'll just, you know, make them
Exactly,
lazy.
yeah.
Like Chat GPT or what is that called?
Yeah.
AI them. I don't want to AI them.
Yeah.
So I didn't put it out there. I didn't even look at them.
It was better that the kids were going at it basically blind.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that.
Movie
Movie
think
teachers like just let them go in.
Movie trailers
the
are
basics.
overrated. You know?
Yeah, movie trailers are overrated.
I think I showed them maybe one of the awards that somebody won. I can't remember which one it was.
I'm like,
But just like, this is what this kit can do.
challenge them to get the award.
I'm not going to tell you how to.
Is there an award? I didn't even know.
Wasn't the one where there was a school in India, I think?
Yeah,
that submitted a machine that can clean a surface or something like that.
Pretty cool.
Something like that, yeah.
I noticed
showed-
that it had some screws that were pointing down toward the table it was supposed to be cleaning. It probably didn't get nice. It was a
Well, you
great
showed,
presentation.
I think there was a vacuum cleaner, I think you showed us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you came in.
Oh, yeah?
The vacuum cleaner, yeah. So I showed them what it's capable of doing. And then you start here, but this is what it can do. And it just leads to them wanting to figure it all out.